The other metric which we were focusing on last time was SNR. Now, what has Q got to do with SNR? So, we talked about BER, we talked about receiver sensitivity, and something that connects these two is Q, right. Now, what about SNR? Because the quality factor became poor or better because you had a large signal to noise ratio or small signal to noise ratio. So, the question we are also asking is, if I do not have a means to measure my Q, because Q measurement requires a measurement of the probability, maximum probability, right, it requires some statistical measurement. So, suppose I do not have a means to measure my Q, I have some way of measuring SNR, let us say. Can I estimate Q, and then from that can I go back to receiver sensitivity and then do my link design, right. And the relation is quite simple. Again, assume I naught equal to 0, assume that it is a thermal noise limited condition. Your Q is I1 minus I naught by sigma naught plus sigma 1. Of course, here this goes to 0, and sigma naught plus sigma 1 is twice the sigma t. So, Q square, we are trying to find out a relation to SNR. So, I am trying to find SNR has power, so that requires I square. So, that is why I am trying to do a Q square. Q square is I1 square divided by 4 times sigma t square. I am just squared that. Now, what is SNR? Now, to get to SNR, we have to get to average SNR. So, I am trying to write that I1, which was the current corresponding to the one state. Average power is not twice I1. Average power should be I1 divided by 2. Average power is I1 divided by 2. So, I1 square by 4 will be nothing but average power. So, I will get this as I average power square divided by sigma t square, and that is nothing but SNR. SNR in the thermal noise limited condition, because SNR is signal power, which is Rd square Pn square divided by sigma t square. Now, Rd square Pn square is nothing but my average current square. So, this is my SNR. So, if I have a way to measure my signal to noise ratio, I have a very simple relation again, SNR is equal to Q square. So, what is the SNR required for, let us say Q is equal to 6, is directly 36. Is there a bandwidth in this? Is this number bandwidth dependent? SNR depends on bandwidth. All what you can say is that for a Q of 6, it does not matter what your bit rate is, you need an SNR of 36, right. So, that way that relation becomes universal. Right. So, that is example here again, Q is equal to 6, SNR is 36. Always be careful about whether you are writing SNR as a ratio or as a dB. So, 36 is nothing but 15.56 dB. Now, you can calculate what can be the noise power, what should be the signal power, etc., for a given baud rate, okay, or a symbol rate. So, just let us do a summary now. Okay. These are all the performance metrics that we have seen until now for a thermal noise limited receiver, which is typically the case for a direct detection receiver, because last time we talked about a short noise limited, how to get to short noise limited condition. But let us say we are not doing any heterodyne detection or coherent detection or anything, just intensity modulation and direct detection system. These are your key relations that you would use for designing your link. You start by saying that I need a certain BER. You start by saying that my link requires a certain BER. From that you can calculate what is the required Q. From the required Q, you can calculate what is the average power that should be falling on the receiver, and then you can also demand that SNR should be equal to Q square. Not only should I have my receiver, so these two are the constraints on the receiver design. Because once you have demanded a certain BER, your receiver should have a sensitivity, or rather the noise should be such that it should respect this sensitivity, and also the SNR at the output of the receiver should be equal to Q square. These are your relations, or the golden relations for your link design for a direct modulation system. Now the question is, when would you use receiver sensitivity as a performance metric, and when would you use SNR as a performance metric? And the answer is, if it is a short distance link, right? If it is a short distance link, let's say you just have a transmitter, fiber and a receiver. You would have started with a signal to noise ratio, right? So let's say this is the spectrum, this is where your data is, this is your SNR. There is a slight difference between optical signal to noise ratio and electrical signal to noise ratio. All what we are talking about right now is electrical signal to noise ratio. We will discuss the relation between them maybe when we do the link design, but right now we are talking about electrical signal to noise ratio. So let's say this is the signal power and this is the noise power. We had discussed this aspect before. Does the fiber degrade the SNR? It doesn't. The fiber attenuates the signal power and the noise power by the same amount. So the SNR at the transmitter and the SNR at the receiver are going to be the same. So if you are starting with a very good source and it has a good SNR, it's very easy to satisfy this relation. The SNR is not degrading, so you would always have, or the minimum SNR required should be greater than Q square, that's always satisfied. But if your link has amplifiers in between, the amplifiers degrade the signal to noise ratio. So you may have started with a large SNR, but your received SNR may not be sufficient, even though you may be having the sensitivity. You may be having a large average power, but there is no point in having a large average power such that it is looking like this, right? So depending on the system, so here you see that the SNR is very poor, the average power is very high, but the SNR is poor. That also can even, so this average power may be larger than your sensitivity, but it is not satisfying this condition. So the rule of thumb is that for short distance links where there is no degradation of SNR, explicit degradation of SNR, you would look at receiver sensitivity. You do not worry about SNR degradation, right? And of course, this is going to depend on the bit rate. Whereas if you are looking at a long haul link, long haul means long distance link, where at least an amplifier is used, one amplifier is used in the link, then you have to worry about SNR degradation, because amplifiers, they add noise, and so the signal quality is degraded.
So like if we take a short link, then short noise will be more, right? Then it will be...
This is all in the thermal noise limited receiver.
Even if it's a short...
So the question is for short distance link, would the short, even if the short noise is higher, would this be true? But what I am saying is that doesn't matter whether it's a short distance link or a long distance link. Whatever we are saying until now is only true only for thermal noise limited receiver. So the power is still not so high that the short noise is greater than the thermal noise. Okay? And that is the case typically in all optical communication systems, unless you use a heterodyne receiver. Any other questions? Okay, so these are the numbers to watch out for when you are trying to do a link design. So one critical point you raised is what happens when you have a short noise limited condition, right? And how do I get to operate my system in short noise limited condition? It is if I go for a coherent detector.